those
If
pants.
I didn't have like the shape of Grimace, I would like, and I was one of these slender guys, I would be all about rocking the joggers on the course. I would tilt the old men at my country club.
Mayo experience.
Mayo experience. Mayo experience. Mayo experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience Farmers Insurance Open Picks, Bets, One and Done, plus a recap of the AMEX, maybe the Dubai tournament. Didn't see much of the Dubai tournament. Maybe Geoff Fienberg did. Did you see much of the Dubai tournament?
I saw the end of the morning, like the final 3 holes on Saturday and Sunday, because they get going early, Pat. Like they're finished by like they're at the end by like 6:37 a.m. So there's not much for me to see. But I saw another great win for Hatton. Got those US Open PGA Hatton futures. People are telling me I did this with Neiman last year. That's fair. I did. But if Neiman was 80 to 1 and 100 to 1 right now, I'd be making those bets. He's shorter than Hatton in a lot of places, and I wouldn't be touching Neiman. But Hatton is being priced with golfers he's not normally priced with on a weekly basis.
See, I didn't know that. I gotta go look at this right now. Are his odds still 80 to 1?
No, Hatton is 50-55. I'm saying Neiman was 80 and 100 last year. And I would make those again if they were, but he's not. Hatton is 50 to win like the 50-55 to win the US Open and the PGA.
Yeah, I see him 50 to 1 to win the PGA. Where's the PGA this year?
It's oh my god. Oh, I'm
Quail,
supposed to know
right?
this. Yeah, I think it sets up lovely for him.
That's really nice, actually. I like that.
He's like data. I mean, listen, he is.
Were you gonna cite the data golf rankings to me, where it's like Russell Henley's the 4th best player in the world?
No. But I'm saying like by a lot of metrics, like I can go by anything, because world ranking doesn't really exist for him, and not that that would be fair. But as our friend Skylar put it, that Hatton comparatively is priced with different golfers. I know it's hard to quantify with LIV, but the players he's being priced alongside of at these majors are not the players he's priced alongside with like week in, week out. And even at these bigger events when the world gets together in some of these like European smorgasbords, a bit like last week, even though, you know, the field wasn't huge, there were still great players there. So Hatton is just still overpriced. I believe I've identified the US Open and the PGA as others have, even though he's a great links player, and I don't really want to trust him at Augusta. But I've got Hatton futures. It was great to see him win. Great effort by that guy Hiller. I didn't have a single bet on that tournament, though.
Neither did I. I like Daniel Hiller, too. Like, he's someone that I have bet on in Euro in the past. He's not someone I would have considered in a field like this. It's just funny to see Rory. You just look up, oh, yeah, he's T4. Of course he is. He tied with a guy who's in the field this week, Nicholas Mola.
Rory played, by all admit, like he plays his C game, he finishes 4th place.
Yeah. Classic Rory.
Yeah, I mean, you could say a lot. Same with like Justin on the PGA at the AMEX. Like he didn't have his A game. He finishes in second place. But yeah, a lot of those.
Here's something interesting. I just bet Hatton at 50 to 1 for the PGA Championship to ride along with you. You know who else is 50 to 1? And I'll talk about the guys who are in the same like similar odds range as him. Like he's 50 to 1 guys right now. Like Neiman's 40. Fleetwood's 50, Fitzpatrick's 50, Burns is 50, Spieth is 50, Thigala's 50, your guy, Cam Young, Mr. Miscut, he's 50. Hatton's way better than all those guys, but Hideki's also 50, who I think was top 3 when it was at Quail Hollow last time.
Wow. Honestly, I probably looked right through that. I didn't stare down it deeply. That makes a lot of sense. Hideki, Quail, that, like, in my mind, that could work perfectly.
Yeah, so I'll bet on Hatton for right now, and hopefully Hideki like falls back a little bit, or we can get him somewhere else other than Century.
Hideki's the weirdest character. I mean, having just won, and I know the major numbers are kind of, I don't know, like Hideki winning gets a lot of like major action, nor do I think like Hatton winning. But there are some players, if they win early, I think people gravitate to maybe go betting them to win a major. Hideki drifts. Hideki drifts. Like when he always drifts when he struggles for a bit. He doesn't hold, for whatever reason, on the books, like the respect he should have doesn't like hold him in marketplaces. He drifts hard usually.
That's because
and then he wins again.
Yeah, well, that's usually when he struggles. He's injured, and people are like, "Oh God, he's gonna withdraw." Then he plummets down the board.
Just saying, in a ways other high-end players don't drift, he drifts. And then he comes back and he eventually wins well under this drift. Seems like always.
For sure.
Good for him.
Want to remind everyone that we are planning on doing a live show this summer. If you want to help us out and do that, go to Underdog right now. Use code Mayo. Put on like $10. Play an entry. That will help us out significantly in paying for all of this. And Geoff, I'm thinking about doing like, we'll do a Cust Corner, do something fun, but maybe do it either, maybe, I guess US Open week is tough because it's Father's Day. Maybe Open Championship where, I don't know, we do a show one night, then like a watch along in the morning, something like that. That could be fun.
Yeah, I'm game. I'm game for whatever the adventure is. I'll give her hard.
So if you guys want to do that, respond to the newsletter. It's completely free to go join up. And my giant preview is in there right now. It's one of the best previews I've written in a long time, I think, which means my picks are going to be worse than normal this week. That's usually what happens when I put too much effort into it.
I like that. I'm gonna read it. I mean, I do the newsletter. I get into the newsletter. Usually I'm hunting something out in the newsletter, like maybe my own, what I said on the football show for the own graph of picks. But all right, let's go. Old school Mayo writing.
Yeah. I mean, I've been hitting it up. I've been posting them on X as well. If you find it on X, it's pinned to my profile right now. Please retweet it, like it. That gets it boosted in the algorithm. It's been working really well so far. And if you don't have to go to the newsletter, you can just read some big articles on X. I can start publishing there. That would be great. But code Mayo at Underdog is the big thing. FantasyNational.com/Mayo to get 20% off. And this is a week that you're going to want to get because I won 2 GPPs on DraftKings, and Tambo and I will have the show for Tuesday morning this week because this tournament starts on Wednesday, Geoff, but stack guys at the North Course the first 2 rounds in Showdown. You think it would be obvious, and it is obvious, but people are like, oh no, this guy I like is playing on the South Course. Doesn't matter. Play like Toasty at the North Course. That guy's going to be better.
That makes tons of sense. The tournament on a Wednesday is always a pleasant surprise. And it's like, yeah, that makes total sense, and I love it. Well, good job.
I wrote about this as a part of the article. So if you've read that, you're going to know the argument. If you don't, why aren't the first 4 tournaments Wednesday to Saturday? Because they're talking like right now they're talking like, why would we have a tournament on Sunday when there's the NFL championship weekend happening? Both of the games are on Sunday. Let's just avoid that and play on Saturday. And I understand for the first few rounds of the playoffs that there are games on Saturdays, but by my math, and you can like fact check me on this, you can either play your final round on Saturday against football or your final 2 rounds against Saturday and Sunday against football. I would just take the one day against football if it was me.
Pat, really, I know I could sound like a broken record, but to me, it all just comes down to the same thing. They play a circus-like schedule, a Monday Raw-like schedule. They from go, when doing that, they openly acknowledge, yeah, we are going to run a large amount of unserious events to fill this schedule. And this is just one of them. In all the ways. Everything about the coverage from last week felt unserious, but everything that happens early in the year is unserious. And while the PGA kind of acknowledges what I just said, what they probably have a hard time realizing or admitting is the absurd amount of unserious tournaments that they run. Like, they think it's just a few. And they'd be humbled to know, like, it's probably like 78%.
Yeah, but we have 4 weeks in a row that are awesome now. This is like Farmers was always the unofficial start of the PGA season, I think, in many viewers' minds. Not so much for us because we're doing content on Sony. And I love Sony. Sony's one of my favorite tournaments every year. It gives us a banger finish every single year, and guys don't shoot minus 30 there. It's a fun, and anyone can kind of compete. You don't get the big players. It's not for everyone, but it's one of my favorite ones. It's part of the, what I like to call the Pat Mayo rotations of tournaments I like. AMEX is whatever, Century is whatever, but Farmers, it was always Tiger's first tournament. It was always Phil's first tournament by and large. Maybe he'd go get a warm-up at Amex just because it was close. And San Diego is one of like Phil's 84 adopted hometowns, so he always had to play. But you get Tiger and Phil, and a big field would come along with it. Everyone is familiar with Torrey Pines by and large. And then you get Farmers, Pebble, Phoenix, Genesis the next 4 weeks. Like that is a good run of tournaments for the PGA Tour.
This is the last year. It's the Farmers.
What is it next
Just
year?
throwing that out there.
Trump Coin Open?
Or maybe 2026, but they've acknowledged, they've said they're out. They're out after this deal. Post 2026. Farmers used to have a lot of pizzazz. La Jolla's got my heart, so I love this tournament. People call the course boring, whatever. It's a real test, so it's fun to see it, but the field has been cut to shit, and
that is absolutely not true. It's not cut to shit. It's this very
but based on like what it was, based on like the perception, based on our memories, and maybe that's unfair, but that feels like what has happened.
Our memories usually coincide with Tiger playing, for one, and Rory played it like half the time. But other than that, the field is pretty similar. Like, we got two critical WDs this week, with Morikawa pulling out and Xander pulling out. But you put those two guys who were supposed to be in this field, and you're like, wow, this is a really strong field.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you're right. Maybe it's all relative, and it's all like happenstance. Like, there was an era, this was a big Tiger event, and who are the other like superstars of the game? Phil, and Ricky being a like relatively close to San Diego boy. But yeah, I don't know. Felt like there was a lot more pizzazz. But at this point, anything I guess without an elevated label is just inherently acknowledged as like lesser than.
Yeah, but I think that this one can skate by. Like they don't need to give this tournament signature status. I mean, it's nice when it did have it, and if it does have it again, that'll be awesome. But I think enough good players come and play. The course speaks for itself in a lot of ways, and if it means making Pebble a legitimate thing again, I think it's worth it to give that the signature status. Because Phoenix and Farmers operate kind of on their own separate plane outside of the signature events, in my mind at least, with the fields that they draw, with the familiarity. People like watching the tournament almost regardless of who's in it. They like watching it because it's there. And Pebble used to have that because people love Pebble. It's just the Pro-Am killed it for everyone. And then no one played.
Is Nance calling this on TV, or he's out of this? Like he's out on Farmers now.
I thought he was out on Farmers, but I don't know because I thought he called it from like his remote location last year. Maybe I have that.
Yeah, I feel like he called it like in the booth, and then they'd go to the booth, and there'd be like him and Romo would do a spiel, and they'd be in what feels like every year is in Kansas City or wherever the game is. But yeah, I feel like he's just at the stadium calling this on a monitor. I could be wrong. All these years kind of blur together. I love this event. And like you said, it always had the players. Maybe the field was overrated, but it always had like the players I liked. Hideki would always play here. Finau, I felt like would win here.
Those are
forever.
Those are two guys who are still playing in this.
No,
tournament.
that's what I mean. Like they had this event, I don't know, people besmirch it. Now Ludwig shows up. So that feels as big of a hole you could fill for me in terms of a name.
We buried the lead here. Congratulations on Seb Straka. Big winner for you on the board for 2025.
Oh, it's good to get one early because last year took me, I feel like, a while. So it's good to get one early. Seemed like it was pretty popular. Yeah, just, I don't know. Guy'd been flushing the ball great lately. He's a great putter. The numbers seem fair. A lot of not great players make Ryder Cups, but I don't know. Guys won shitty tournaments before.
He
Don't
was
really have much more than that. The guy was flushing his irons and one of the best putters in the field, and he rolled it. He rolled it fantastic. He didn't make a bogey until the very end. Taylor Moore didn't make a bogey the whole week, I heard
wait for Taylor
on the
Moore,
radio.
Taylor Moore on Pat Mayo's card this week for Farmers.
Okay, there it is. But yeah, shout out, Straka. Seemed like a lot of people got off the mat early in this season. Lots of our friends, obviously, people saw Vincenzi's
giant
monster
win. Yeah, the Sky was on it, Noonan was on it, Joe was on it. Like a lot of, and basically everyone besides me was on Seb Straka last week. Just we'll throw it out that way.
Baroff was on Nick Taylor last week also, and Sep.
That's big.
Sorry, Taylor 2 weeks ago. So Baroff is like a straight wagon early in the season right now. Credit to him. I don't know. I'd be much more organized at maybe who had Sep, but that great Twitter account, Golf Tips Checker. Like, I don't want to sound like Tim Anderson at the moment, but it's like, you like your credit. You hit a winner, you want your credit. You're like, where's this tweet with all the, like, you know, the 2 pages of people on Sep? I don't find my name. Like, I made the honor roll at school, which I never did. I didn't see it. I didn't see the tweet. Must have had a groggy weekend. I've had a few of those lately, so I get it.
Yeah, we're still coming out of the holiday season. You're still trying to get yourself back acclimated to real life now that the new year has started. My Sunday went a little bit different at the American Express. As everyone knows, I was big on Chuck Hoffman, the Chuck Hoffman wagon this week, and it was funny watching your bet lose in real time and know the disaster is coming, and then doing the math of, oh my God, so my 200 to 1 is dead. And am I still going to get any money out of Charlie Hoffman from this good week? Because his top 8 is very much in jeopardy at the moment right now, too. So it's a lot like Sony for me. Like, I felt like I was so close at Sony. I had a really nice week with Taylor as top Canadian, but not the winner. With Eric Cole top 5, but he was very much in contention the entire time. Keegan was in contention and couldn't get it done. It felt like it was very close to being there. That's how I felt this week. Like, I won with Charlie Hoffman. I just didn't win a 65 to 1 winner like everyone else. I had the 32 to 1 on the top 8, but obviously I didn't play the 32 to 1 like I would play like a normal 32 to 1 outright winner. So it wasn't as much as I would have liked to cash in on. It's great to win. Anytime you have a winning week in golf, it is amazing. Gets you through, builds the bankroll a little bit, and that's how I've started off the season. But I feel like I've just missed. But it was hole 10 is when it happened. So he was closing in on Sep. Like, Chuck was playing great. He was 4 under through 8 holes, and Straka was kind of matching him 1v1, but he had closed the gap to 3. He had a chance to close the gap to 2 on 10. He had like an 11-foot putt. Day and Straka had already missed, and he hits it down the hill, and it's breaking towards the cup. And I'm watching, I was like, oh, this is like dead center. This is perfect. Hoffman goes to walk it in, and it stops just before it goes over into the hole. He did like the walk toward it and stopped halfway there, and he was just like, oh my God. So I was like, okay, we needed that one. Like, we need those to drop if we're going to have a chance to come back from 3 at the turn. But like, not everything is lost as of yet. But you can see sort of like the little bit of the momentum come out of him. It was the first time it really seemed like he was like, oh. And then he gets to hole 11 on the par 5. They're all in the middle of the fairway. They all end up just greenside. Day and Straka just have horrible chips towards the pin, so they're not going to have an easy tap in for birdie. Chuck puts it to 4 feet. Those guys miss their birdie putt. Hoffman steps up, pushes it right. And then all of the energy he had in his body, you could just see it leaving him. And they had to wait, I believe it was 17 minutes on the tee box between 10 and 11 to tee off on the par 5. And I was like, well, this is great. This is going to hurt Straka if it hurts anyone. The guy's sitting there with a 3-stroke lead, but it was Hoffman. It just got into his head from the last putt that he had made, pushed the next one. And then they get up to a par 3, Jeff, with water on the left. And I'm just like, oh, this is going to go either 2 feet or dead center of the water. And where do you think that ball went?
I saw that part. He when he got to that tee box, he had already looked quite disheveled.
That's because he had missed the 2 putts that had, like, he was there and he missed the putts and he was just, it's like he was done for. And then he tried to play a draw unless he crossed himself up. Like, he doesn't play a draw. He was playing a cut all day long. He's trying to play a draw with water on the left. What do you think's going to happen, Chuck?
Like, just like his appearance, Pat. Like, it's slowly morphed. Like, you know, you're out there with your buddies. They start the day clean cut. But after, like, being on the course for, I mean, we could do a side note on how long it was. Because as someone who had Sepp, let's go back. Credit for Charlie Hoffman. It was a great call. I wouldn't have been there in a million years. I never really feared he would win, but the radio broadcast let me know that pretty much for the first, like, entire front 9 and probably through the start of the back, as you had mentioned, Pat, he was putting inside of Day and Straka all day. There was not a green until later in the round where those guys were inside of Hoffman. He just, you know, in typical Charlie, he couldn't get it to go. The round was deplorably slow. I sat there maybe 20 minutes into that early football game. They were on like the 4th freaking hole or something, 5th hole. And I'm doing the math because I got my SEP ticket and I'm like, shit. Part of me wants the golf to end before the second football game so I could get like dangerous. And then part of me doesn't want SEP to win before the second football game so I can get dangerous. And there's a big difference between depositing money and having an outright winner in there. So, you know, it wasn't something I was going to deposit for because I had enough to make bets, but get dangerous. So it didn't happen, and I enjoyed great football. Nonetheless, on the winning side, yay. But the pace of the round, just disgusting. Like, embarrassing. For all of the PGA's faults, nothing might be worse than what's happening. Not like it might be their biggest problem. Who gives a shit what field, what tour John Rahm is on when you're going to play 545 fucking rounds?
And the coverage was, I mean, the actual coverage when it got to Golf Channel was fine. But I even had people complaining at me, like on the ESPN main broadcast feed, like when you stream it on ESPN Plus, we have it on TSN Plus in Canada, that they just weren't showing some players because they were a part of another feed. Like Justin Thomas was invisible for the first like 7 holes when he was playing lights out and actually making, like he was the one guy, if there was one guy who was going to make a charge at Straka that wasn't Hoffman who was there with him to come from a little bit behind, it was either Cantlay or Thomas, and Thomas was doing it early. He missed like a 6-footer on 7 that if that goes in, this might be a slightly different story. And you can say that with a bunch, except for Straka, because he made everything.
I sweated Thomas on the shot tracker all freaking morning or early afternoon. No one, Pat, no one has to dance for food, has to jiggle their fucking ass on a pole harder than people who love the PGA Tour. Nobody. To like get information, to get on, like to be aware of what is happening on your professional event. No one makes us dance or jiggle harder than that fucking tour. Got shot tracker, got radio, but like it's a fucking joke. It's a fucking, I'm the joke, but it's a joke. It's a joke.
Grazerman cost people a bunch of money, by the way. Did you see what happened to him?
No, I didn't.
So
I didn't.
On 16, he hit like a 4-iron. I think it was either a 4-iron or a 3-iron from I think 265 away and put it to 7 feet, and then missed the eagle putt, and then he doubled 18 to drop him from like 2nd to 7th.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Listen, I was hawking Hoffman at the end because I wanted you to like catch your placing.
Thank you. I appreciate
that show
it.
Deserved a placing. No, I didn't see him whittle. I didn't see him whittle away. I don't know. I was just captivated with the football. Then I had a bit of a scare tactic late with Seth, but it wasn't like real. Sometimes the radio, it's like when you're watching a football, like they make it, I guess for their own like purposes of trying to keep people engaged. Like they make you seem, they like go over the doomsday scenarios to like kind of keep you locked in. or they make like the 3-footers seem like they're so fucking treacherous that you've got to like stay in for the call. But I don't know. Other than being like duped because I'm a mark, no, it was over.
He could 3-putt. I think he could 4-putt for a playoff from 17 feet. He 2-putted.
But even
to win by
before
2.
that, like his day had an eagle putt, and JT had another makeable putt on 18. While Day had his eagle putt, his Straka was in trouble on that par 5. Might have been right around halftime as well, so I was like back locked in. But yeah, it's good to get one early. That's good. That's good. Last year didn't meet my quota and took me a long time to get off the mat. So I probably consider those two things going hand in hand. So happy to get off.
Did you see that they might be moving the Genesis to PGA West, which I am very much for? I'd rather see it at the stadium course than see it at Torrey Pines.
Okay, so friends, everyone's a friend. Nathan Hubbard is saying he's got rumors at stadium course. Our boy Rick Run Good is saying his rumblings are hearing Torrey Pines. Nothing's been put out yet, I guess. I haven't really been following it that closely. Like obviously I knew it was going to change, but I just kind of saw the rumors. I assume there was an official announcement. But I guess I'd rather this. I don't know, man. The stadium course, if they put an elevated event at the stadium course, Pat, someone would go nuclear.
See, I don't know.
I do.
No, because it played much more difficult than it has in years past. There was a bit of renovation done to it. But I think the one thing that people overlook with the stadium course versus how I imagine it would play for a signature event is there's no rough at the stadium course because they cut it down to nothing because there's a bunch of amateurs in the field. If you just grow the rough out and put a premium on hitting those fairways, yeah, guys are going to score, but the winning score will probably be like minus 17 for the tournament, which is fine. Like Travelers and Heritage both have them.
So unrelated to like his attempt to win yesterday, I saw an older clip or a mention of a Justin Thomas clip. Like every hole, he says every hole at the stadium course, like he just tries to birdie. Even though you have to be a little more defensive in some places. And I believe if the elevated group like that field got together, someone in form would just annihilate it. Annihilate it. Like one of those high-end players would just be on one and it would be dummied. That is, I hope I am wrong, but it still seems too easy. Listen, like everywhere is easy. I would enjoy it. Maybe it'd be fun to see it. I don't really want to watch them play the same course back to back. I guess they wouldn't be. I don't know. I'm kind of indifferent. I would think I'd want Torrey Pines to get it, though.
You just want to see another Torrey Pines. I just feel like Torrey by itself is great, and then you get it for U.S. Opens. Those are the two versions of Torrey Pines that I want to see. And I do think that 4 rounds at the stadium course makes that tournament a lot more fun. And you're right, someone might just go nuclear 4 rounds and tear the place apart. But if you made it more difficult than what is honestly the easiest setup on tour every year, then I think it's a little bit different.
Yes. And you're right. My like thought of it is how I've only seen it at the AMEX, which is a pro-am element to it. And even the guys, even they were complaining on the radio that they didn't have 17 as like deep yesterday as they normally,
it was up.
as they normally have it. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm just biased to Torrey Pines. I'm just rambling. I've got nothing else to say on this. Sorry.
It's better than doing it at Phoenix back-to-back weeks, I think. Because I think that was originally what the optimal plan was going to be, but I think they want to keep it in California. And I don't know, does Phoenix lose its luster? Like, because they were saying that, if you get 300,000 people to the Waste Management, then you'll get an equal amount of people for the next week. That's just not true, because people weren't planning to go there.
Yeah, no, that's not true. My dad hopes it ends up in Phoenix because they spend a lot of time there, but they get out like Waste Management week. They're not there. So we would love to be able to enjoy an elevated event, which what he hopes wouldn't be the bachelor party crowd, but I still think the frat bros would show up again for both weekends. I don't doubt that, to be honest.
Yeah, that's probably in the cards. Do you have any bets on TGL for Tuesday night?
No,
Neither
I
do
don't even. I mean, listen, it's so. We'll see. We'll see the vibe. We'll see the vibes after this one. I couldn't even tell you who's playing. I did see a lot of people linking Morikawa's WD to TGL, and I didn't really understand the link.
The link is Xander has withdrawn after he just played on TGL. He says he's hurt now. So he did that. And now Morikawa is doing the same. So that's the link. Just like to get two of the biggest names the past 2 weeks of the two betting favorites for both the fields the week after they played TGL. They're not playing now.
Okay. Just on the surface, that isn't ideal. And if anything, like, not ideal. Not ideal, but as my friend Rob Pizzola would say, that sample size isn't enough to work with.
This is true. Do you think, what would you, so the first week did, I think it was like 900,000. The Tiger week 2 did like 1.1 million in terms of viewers. So now it loses its luster of being like a spectacle, like the first time you need to see something. And now you don't have Tiger. I believe you have like Cantlay and I don't know, Cam Young. It's the Cam Young team again, the New York team again. So it's Justin Thomas and Cantlay this week. What do you think the ratings are for this? If I set it at 700,000, would you go over or under?
I'm gonna say over, but like barely. That's a tough line. I want to be optimistic, but let's be honest, it's hard.
Cut it to an hour. The first hour is fun, and the second hour is just brutal.
You got to be left wanting more. Because the second it drags on, it's just like, you're like, why do I ever want to watch this again? I mean that. Like I said, I don't know. At this point, like anything relevant, I wasn't watching last week. I saw the Kisner clip on Twitter. Like, I don't know. I feel like I could just experience that league through Twitter. I didn't make a bet last week. I made a bet the first week. Maybe that led me more inclined to want to watch it. It's kind of, in my opinion, really all depends on how hard Tiger wants to give her. This. The cost benefit analysis for Tiger in a couple years might be like, it's just not worth my time. I'll eat the loss. Like, if people want me to wear this as a business failure, like, okay, fine. But I'm not like committing time. I don't want to commit the time to it. That being said, it will evolve. It will change. Because whatever they're doing now, I don't feel will hold. I feel that the city names are so fucking inauthentic and an insult to people's intelligence, especially like sports fans. Just such an insult to our intelligence that you like need to slap cities' names in front of it and think it matters or think you're getting like a local market share because of it. It's so fucking disingenuous. At its bottom, though, Pat, if this is what they wanted, like in 4 years, 3 years, it could just be like a Tiger Woods Tuesday night variety hour on ESPN in winter.
Yeah.
Like that, like at its floor, Tiger could do that and hold it, and it would get a number. Like a Tiger Woods hour-long variety hour with other pros and games, and maybe like people be annoyed when I say this, but like maybe celebs or athletes, but like just a Tiger Woods variety hour. I don't know how to explain it any other way. At its floor level, I feel like that could work. So I still feel like this thing in some way could still be on the air in a few years.
Well, I will tell you, if the ratings are, let's say, above the 700,000 number that I put out, let's say they sustain themselves pretty well, like 850,000, 800,000, somewhere around there, even 750. If it just has those ratings on a Tuesday night on ESPN, this league's going to be wildly successful.
Yeah. I wonder what it's going to be week 10.
But it's background noise, right? Like there's going to be your people that are like we're about as deep in the weeds as golf fans as you can have, and we're pretty like wishy-washy on it anyways. It's definitely not must-see TV where, listen, people will tune out of the Amex, they'll tune out of the Sony, but I like to watch it along with football at the same time. You know, a lot of people have 2 screens where they can watch stuff now. I'll just watch them both. I don't want to miss what's going on there because I enjoy watching it. It's not that I don't enjoy watching this, but it's more of something that's on in the background because literally nothing is on Tuesday nights at that time. And that's the market they're going for.
I mean, yeah. At this point, nothing would be on, and there'd be like nothing I want to watch to like need to watch it.
Yeah, and it doesn't feel so consequential at the same time that if I miss it, like, oh, I can't believe I missed it. How am I going to keep up on the water cooler talk about what's going on in TGL? Not worried about that. So I guess my question to you is, and I asked this question to Dubs Anderson on the live show on Fridays. I am doing a live show on Fridays. We're covering a bunch of golf on that in tournament. It'll be for round 3 at Farmers this week. I'll try to find a golf guest to come on. I've had Dubs. I've had Keith Stewart on. Maybe I'll try to find someone new. If there's someone you can recommend to me, throw it out. But what gets better ratings, the TGL or the first live event on Fox?
TGL.
I think so too.
Just like there was just the first live event on Fox, people aren't really even going to know it's on. And Tim's going to maybe listen. Fox has the Super Bowl. Fox has an NFC title game this weekend. Maybe they plug that. Maybe they do. But I don't think Fox is plugging Live Riyadh or Live Hong Kong. Like, I don't think that's their baseline. I don't even think those events will be on Fox. They'll probably be on like the tertiary Fox channels. Now, when they get in like to the normal time zones, then it can be on Fox. What the PGA has done was like very beautiful for the TGL and its success is they really did leverage their broadcast partners as any big business would. They flexed their muscles. They said, you want to be able to show the FedEx Cup in our signature events, you're going to have to like be a partner with us on this. In places that because this thing's on all over the world, this TGL thing. I don't know what like time zones they're on or tape delays, but it seems like the PGA got all their broadcast partners on board. In the same way they flex their muscle on their broadcast partners for 2-3 years saying, do not fucking touch that Live property. Don't go near it. But good for Live. I don't know, Fox, that's a huge deal. My issue with them is, like, my dad would watch it if he knew it. How do I put this? Like, he just wouldn't even know to go to it because he wouldn't know it was on. But there's no way anyone who likes golf would see Bryson, Phil doing anything on the golf course and not stop. And then maybe stay. And then if it's on Fox against the shitty PGA event, against the Cognizant Classic, I don't know the schedule, but I'm just picking something. I'd be interested to see that number, but I would just be worried most golf fans aren't even aware it's airing on Fox.
So the first one that they're going up with is Riyadh, and it's the Super Bowl weekend, so the same as Waste Management. And that's going to be, I don't know if they're going to show it on tape delay, whether they're going to show it in the middle of the night, or sort of go on the same rotation that the DP World Tour does in North America for some of these Middle Eastern events, where you said it's on real early. And I'm I'm in the time zone as close to Europe as possible. So for me, it comes on early. For you, it's even worse. On the West Coast, it's legit like the middle of the morning. So if they put it on tape delay, but then you're going up against Super Bowl pregame and the Waste Management, which is a built-in sort of pregame.
Well, they have the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I get that they have the Super Bowl. They're not going to show it at the same time, but they're going to show their pregame stuff. But this tournament is going to be over at West Coast time, probably like 6 a.m.
Now, they could do a wonderful job with the cut up and the tape delay, Pat. Because, like, you could just cut it up to literally just give people Brooks, Bryson, DJ, Phil, Rob. Like, do you know what I mean? And not to say that, like, they waste a lot of time with other things on the broadcast, but they really could make, like, a hyper superstars edit for Fox on the tape delays.
Yeah.
That I think the audience would really appreciate.
Oh, for sure. Because I've always told you those YouTube, like, cut-ups of Live is generally how I watch Live. It's great. Like the PGA Tour ones are awful because they're just showing you like random 50-foot putts from absolute scrubs in the field, and then like shots missed by all the big players. Like the LIV Supercut actually tells a story over 25 minutes and you can see the entire round. I do worry that if people are doing the flicking through the channels like your dad and they land on LIV and they see these names, then they see like the chyrons and the graphics for LIV, they're gonna be like, the fuck is this?
Okay, maybe, but they'll also could be on there for 20 minutes thinking they're watching on CBS or NBC watching the PGA. And when I say 20, I mean like 2 hours.
Oh no, I agree with you, but I think
Like-
that the graphical style of LIV, like how they present the scores and what's going on, just the color scheme is really bad. It looks Bush League. It looks like it looks like a Nickelodeon broadcast.
Yeah, and even I could see it like, my grandfather, like rest in peace, he would just sit there as an older man, and my grandma would call me, be like, what channel's the game on? Or I can't find the game. And she would just like, there's the golf, and it'd be LIV. And he'd be happy as like a pig in shit, sitting there watching it, not caring if it was PGA or like, I don't know. I feel like there's just a lot of like, oh, the golf, there it is. And they'll get stuck watching it and not even know. I don't want to say they won't know which one they're watching, but they'll be content either way because of who that PGA audience is. They're easily satisfied. The like 88% of the people who do watch the PGA.
For sure.
That makes any sense.
I want LIV to be successful on Fox because I think that LIV being successful on Fox pressures the PGA Tour to get better now that this makes them a credible threat if it's successful in order to take away from at least the bottom line and where the upside is for the PGA. They're always going to have their floor and whatever that might be, but this either gets a deal done faster, a merger done faster, collaboration done faster, whatever it might be. If LIV absolutely tanks on Fox, and we're not going to know that for a while, like it'll be fun to see LIV Adelaide on Fox because that's the second tournament the week after the Super Bowl, so maybe Fox will really promote that on the Super Bowl broadcast, like if they really do want to leverage it. And then you don't get anything until like LIV Miami the week before the Masters. That would be like the first one that really hits hard for the LIV guys. But this would be a nice little intro to it if they can get some sort of market share out of this. At least force the PGA to put on a better broadcast, if nothing else.
This might be a wild question. Is there a chance, like what happens? Or is this just supposed to happen? And I don't know what the crossover event is, but we know they like to pick on the lower lights. What happens when we wake up on like a Monday or Tuesday and Tim has sent us like 40 DMs showing that this Brooks versus DJ battle like beats the John Deere Classic or the Cognizant or whatever that head-to-head is?
It will
like
be,
that would be.
I
can that happen this season?
It will be. I mean, the biggest opportunity they have for that looks like LIV Golf Miami, April 4th. I believe that's the weekend of Valero. But Spieth will be playing at Valero, which should help its ratings if he's any good. And Spieth is playing.
Okay,
in Phoenix,
fine,
too,
but let's
and Pebble.
say Valero is Corey Connors versus
Boccia.
KH Lee.
Yeah, but I think that will be the real test of how this works. And if LIV makes inroads against those events, which that's optimizing their schedule, what they should be trying to do, and not go up against all the big stars to eat away, then yeah, I think that could happen. I don't know if it will because I think that there's still a lot of like, it's not even that there's anti-LIV sentiment. It's just that there's no LIV sentiment. It's just like that's the LIV sentiment.
No, and there's just like the appointment viewing of like the PGA Fox dinner time weekend. Like your finger goes there, just like it might go to like the weather, like 60 Minutes. Like it's so ingrained in its like niche audience psyche where like we've said many times with LIV, it's just they play such an inconsistent schedule. And then the schedule of when they're on Fox, regular Fox, is probably even more inconsistent. I know lots of people who would probably happily rather watch it. They just wouldn't know when it's on, and their fingers will take them to the John Deere Classic.
Yeah, if I was the new LIV CEO, now that Norman is launched, I would be putting all my eggs into this LIV Miami. It's at Trump Doral. You could probably get Trump there, which would obviously boost ratings for it. And you can have him schmoozing with Bryson. You can show the YouTube clip of the breaking 50, and it's going in against a terrible PGA tournament. Like, that's the spot where they need to put all the promotion to see if it works. Because if that doesn't do well, we got problems for LIV.
Yeah, if by next year the LIV can't beat the lowest level PGA events it's going up against on Fox, that would be a concern. This year, I'll kind of give them a free pass because I just think a lot of people won't even know it's on. But by next year, if they have what we're talking about and they can't beat the minor league level PGA field weekend finish with their superstars, that would be a concern. But I'm almost going to give them a mulligan on needing to outrating the PGA this year. Even if it is a horrible
I'm not
finish.
talking about outrating the PGA, but it needs to, they need to actually put
inroads.
Yeah, we need to look at the Valero's ratings from last year and look at them this year and be like, oh, they lost 400,000 people.
Like Trump in New Jersey, inroads.
Yes.
He didn't win shit, but whoa, you saw inroads. Yeah.
But I mean, maybe it's better to keep Trump away from it, because then it would be sort of a disingenuous rating at the same time. You can't just have Trump there every year in order to get ratings.
Well, their early strategy was courting, then Marjorie Taylor Greene and Tucker. Remember? Oh my God. They can't do, that is so dumb. But yeah, I mean, listen, Trump Doral, it would go so mainstream if he's actually there that, that's their biggest. I mean, maybe they want that more than anything. But if it's at Doral with those guys, those are Trump's friends. DJ and Bryson Brooks, those are chums. So if he wouldn't miss that at his course.
No, absolutely not. And it does have the one big thing of it is basically the only course on the LIV rotation that people both like and are familiar with. And we talked about this at the very beginning of LIV too, that part of the reason that the PGA, even in these lower level tournaments, can always succeed is that a lot of the times the course isn't necessarily the star, but it's very familiar. It's very comforting. You know, when you go to TPC Deer Run, if you're someone who watches the John Deere Classic, you know the tournament. You know the course. It's been there for 40, 50 years, whatever it might be. Doral is the only one of these courses that people are somewhat familiar with.
That's a very fair point. As we're getting out on this LIV argument, I'd like to say, well, it's probably irrelevant to 90% of people. Huge gains, in my opinion, from LIV, as I see both the Rippers and Legion 13 rocking Grayson gear. Oh, that's arrow up. That's arrow up in my eyes.
This is the TGL presented by SoFi, golf's newest league, an all-new indoor arena-style golf where high-tech meets higher stakes meets primetime ESPN. Tuesday evening, January 21st, New York takes on Atlanta. The odds are out, and it is a coin flip this time around. A 3-on-3 match play golf league that takes the competition of pro golf and places it inside an arena sports atmosphere. We've already seen New York. They lost in week 1 to the Bay Area, but we still got Xander, Cam Young, Ricky Fowler, Matt Fitzpatrick, this time taking on Justin Thomas, Patrick Cantlay, Lucas Glover, and Billy Horschel on ESPN January 21st at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. This is TGL presented by SoFi. Keep up. It's golf. Let's make the move to La Jolla. Farmers Insurance Open, Torrey Pines, starts on a Wednesday. Once again, do not forget that. Or maybe forget. You'll probably save yourself some money in outright bets. But I already have my full article out. That's on X right now. It's also in the free newsletter, Mayo Media. AJ Brown reads it. Why don't you read it? That's what he's reading on the sidelines these days. And maybe that's what he'll be reading next week, too, when he's looking to get a head start on Pebble Beach. I don't know. But you can do all of that down in the description. Smash the like, sub to the channel, and rate and review the audio podcast while you're here. Code Mayo at Underdog as well. 2-course rotation. The North Course is 500 yards shorter than the South Course. So keep that in mind. It's also significantly easier than the South Course. 3 of the rounds will be played at the South Course, but they split the first 2 rounds, and then they go to the South for the weekend. All of the strokes gained. Shot link data is from from the South Course at Torrey Pines, the longest course on the PGA Tour annually, 7,765 yards. Do you know who you want here, Geoff? You want bombers who can scramble and kind of putt. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, this is almost, I mean, back in the day, you would bet guys who you believed had a major profile, whose games you felt like would hang on major championship layouts, because that's what Torrey Pines can demand. So I love it. I've lost a lot of money on the same guys here for many years, but now we can start with new guys.
I mean, you can still bet Finau. He's there.
Yeah, no. I don't need that. He's like recovering from something. I'm like, Finau, just like he's probably done a lot recently. I bet Finau when he was like a loser. I haven't really been part of like Finau the winner. And I haven't really bet him much at all last year.
Okay, well, the top of the odds board is Hideki as the favorite because Nikolai, Xander, and Morikawa have all WD'd from this tournament. So Hideki's 10 or 11 to 1. Ludwig is the co-favorite at 11 to 1. 13 is the best number I could find on him right now. That'll be important for you in a little bit when we talk about picks. Sungjae is 20. Finau is 22. Keegan, Grazerman, both 28. Day and Zalatoris, both 28. Then you're into your McNeelys. Thigala at 33 to 1. Even into like Bhatia, Lowry, Pendrith, Homa. They're all going to be in that range. Kurt Kitayama continues to be near the top of these boards and near the top of my stat rankings as well. Just there's no way I'm betting Kurt Kitayama.
Yeah, I keep seeing him around players, and I think, oh, that's a guy the sportsbook doesn't want me to bet. And good thing for them, I'm not going to bet him. Pat, I will need to be talked out of that 13 to 1 Ludwig Aberg. That enhanced win number, as you mentioned, is the best I have seen. There's a couple guys north of like 60 that have my attention, but also with the prospects of betting Ludwig and maybe just one or two bodies past that in the 60s and above, I'm probably going to need to be talked off it to not bet it. Off a win last week makes it even easier. Money's in the chamber. Like, I don't know if I'm going to miss this one.
I'm with you, actually. I bet Ludwig last year. And remember this was the site of, Ludwig can't putt on POA because he missed like 2 6-foot putts. People forget how difficult short putts are at Torrey Pines. Just people miss a lot of short putts. He actually gained putting on the South Course for the week. It's just the ones that were very open to people that they saw, but like he absolutely mashed it. The short game might be a problem because you do need a good short game to manage around here, but I think he can just figure this out. So I'm actually on the fence with him. But the first thing I did when I woke up this morning, because I saw the DraftKings posted their odds late on Sunday. I don't have DraftKings Sportsbook where I'm at, so I had to wait around, and CoolBet was just still hanging at 28 on Zalatoris when I woke up. I was like, done deal. If anyone watched the research show or read my article, that's where I wanted to be. These are the types of tournaments where I love Willie Z. Obviously, one of the most successful betting days of my life was when Luke List beat Will Zalatoris in the playoff, and I had both of them. I just think that these are the types of tournaments that Zalatoris is going to win. You talk about major championship profile. Obviously, he's succeeded tremendously at major championships so far in his young career. He's played pretty well for like 3 of 4 rounds in both of the tournaments that he's played so far this year. Him actually kind of falling back a little bit Sunday at Amex was very helpful, but I don't like Will Zalatoris in Birdie Fest. His putter can't sustain trying to get to 25 under, 26 under, whatever it might be. When you can win at 13 under, that is the Will Zalatoris sweet spot. So here, Bay Hill, Augusta National, we've seen a lot of Masters winners along with this. The one thing I will point out, and I did go over this on the research show as well, there has been a direct link, not so much of the top end players in this field because we have no information about them, except for a few, which rate out pretty favorably. Mexico Open, man. That's the reason I bet Jake Knapp last year in Mexico, because he played so well at Torrey. It's just a big driver-heavy course where you want to go bombs away, and hopefully the putter comes along with you for the week. So if you're looking for long shots this week, or guys down the board, go scroll through, watch the research show, because I went over it there, or just scroll through past Mexico Open leaderboards from the past few years. Do you remember the first 2 guys to win at the Vedanta course in Mexico?
Rahm and Finau?
Yeah, who plays well at Torrey?
Yeah. I mean,
Who came third at Torrey last year and won in Mexico?
Yeah, I could see that. You got to be lethal off the tee.
If you're not driving the
there's
ball a ton, I don't want you.
Listen, we've said this a lot at Torrey, which I think led to like a lot of Luke Listlove over the year. It was like we would try to identify like a poor man's profile of the profile.
Yes.
And Jake would be back there. There's another like actually super bomber who I'm interested in, but we'll wait for that. Maybe I might not have any units left, but we can wait for that. Willie Z, intriguing. I will say the Ludwig number this morning was higher than I thought it would be after Morikawa withdrew.
Yeah,
I was pretty nervous. I was pretty nervous. It would be like 10, 9 to 1. So when I saw like a 13 this morning, like I don't know. I'm not gonna be able to resist. Just putting that out there.
I'm on the fence with it as well. I can see I have room on my card with the way that I've structured it so far that I think that I can get there with it and still make it work with everyone else.
What did you bet Nap at
in Mexico?
No, were you betting him? Did you bet him this week already?
No, I haven't. I did see he was 600 to 1 though.
Yeah, I didn't see that. Listen, people said the DraftKings. I heard from people last night like there were like hard limits on that. I mean, I'm like hard limited on DraftKings for some reason, which is annoying. But apparently, like last night, they put those out early. They weren't letting you win more than they were like once you won over like $3,000, they were cutting you off.
I think for most people that if they could win $3,000 on a bet, they'd be pretty happy.
It's enough. Like you bet it. Like most people, that's enough. But I'm just saying, like they were not letting you like break them on an early number is all I'm saying. Like I'm more than happy to make a golf bet that wins $3,000. I'm just saying like they posted those early. That's a great service. That'd be lovely if they do that like continuously, but they're like clearly not in the business of like, we're posting these early. It's a better service for you because no one else has these, but we're not letting you like destroy us. I saw there was like a 140 on Justin Rose. I think I saw Kenny tweeted that.
Yeah.
I didn't even know they posted numbers.
I mean, they don't normally, but where this tournament starts on Wednesday, I think they were trying to get out ahead of the market on a lot of this stuff. I have some guys from the back end that I'm somewhat interested in. Those would be like some decent Mexico guys that I've seen through it. But it's Willie Z for me from this top end. No one else I really considered. Like, I could see Finau. I'm not betting him at 20 to 1. Keegan Bradley, I could see. That's Cust one and done for the week. He's off to a hot start of the year. I don't want to bet him at 22.
I'm not rich enough for Pendrith.
Day coming off a really nice week in Mexico. His won twice year before. I could see it. 28 to 1's a decent number. I really like Grazerman. I think his game is perfect for this place. He would actually be the other guy I would consider here at 25 to 1.
Yeah, Grazerman, no discounts on Grazerman.
No, they know.
Yeah, they know. They know. Pendrith, another guy. I love the profile, but I'd rather chase. I mean, once I'm betting Ludwig, I'm not betting him, and I'll have to bet like poor man versions of that deeper somewhere else.
All right, well, let's move to the 30 to 60 then. It seems like I already bet Zalatoris, went heavy on him. You like Oberg. I'm probably going to get on Oberg too, unless I end up taking, who did I just say? Grazerman instead.
Sorry, but okay, so what else is available if we did this together? The Aberg Willie card. Like what,
well, do you want me to go through who I've bet so far? And that's probably going to be it for the week then, if that's me?
Okay, I mean, you can in a sec. I would just say like that could leave me with like a 60 to 1 and like a super long shot.
So if I did that, that would make my card. I would have the 13 to 1 with Ludwig. I have 28 to 1 on Willie. I have a guy at 66 to 1, a guy at 75 to 1, only because of placings. You can actually bet him at 90 to 1 if you want to. I have a 100 to 1 guy, and I have a 1,200 to 1 guy.
Are you in on Steven Yeager?
Yeah, I am. 66 to 1.
Okay, we have not spoken this week, but I could just roll this 3-man right here. Like, cause I was hating myself not being in on him last week. I like he just mashes, he scrambles.
He didn't play last week, by the way.
Sorry, 2 weeks ago when he put it in the pool or the neighbor's pool, as Cam said. Yeah. Okay. This is my jam. This is my jam. 66-1, Stephen Yates.
Yeah, so I hit Jaeger at 66-1 this morning at Cool Bet. He's already down to 50-1 there. So let me check around enhanced win. Where are we seeing Jaeger 55 is currently the best number I see.
There's an enhanced. There's a 65 on Phillip Rivers, which can be enhanced to a 70, which I'm staring at right now.
That's by far the best number. Take that.
Yeah. Okay, Stevie Yates.
Yeah, he was like people forget the one other way to play this tournament is the live betting at the turn on Sunday, because we've seen many examples of guys just shitting down their pants on the back nine, Steven Jaeger included, who was winning this tournament until the back nine last year.
Honestly, I totally forgot about that.
He was up by 3.
I could be done. I love this 3.
Oh, no. You need to get some Thorbjornsson in your life, pal.
You're not.
You want to talk about the poor man's profile? I even wrote him up as he is the poor man Rom's profile of 2017. He's like 6th in driving distance. He puts the lights out. Why not? Normally you don't.
I bet him. Yeah, I bet him last week. I bet him at Sony before he WD'd.
But this is the better. This is the better tournament for him because he can go just driver all day long and hit it farther than anyone else in the field. Like the guys, I think you could go Ludwig, Zal, Jaeger, and I have Thorbjornsson. Like I said, he's the guy you can bet at 90-1. I bet at 75 to get the 8 places. I like Taylor Moore. I'm in on him at 100-1 as well. But other than that, just take those 3 and play some long shots who are bombers if you want to. We'll get to them when we get to the long shot section, but I think there are some capable guys there. The rest of the guys in the 30, is there anyone who does intrigue you at all? Like the stats love Kitayama. You mentioned Pendrith, who I decently like Lowry's here. Homa, who has just had a ton of success at this tournament over the years. It's funny to see Homa behind McNeely in terms of odds. Thigala is 32-1. I think that he could be highly competitive. Hostler at 55, just kind of blowing my mind. But Hostler, Griffin, Rye, Clanton, Griffin, Hubbard, Hall, the Hubbard, Hall, Griffin type guys, I don't want them here. I want them at AMEX. Nope. I want them at Sony. I don't want them at Torrey Pines.
Yeah, no, I'd rather play like Thomas Detry from that group, even though none of them, Rye's a winner, but just because he's more on profile for me. And I know I can be a slut for Detry, but he is of that profile. You mentioned Homa. I'm just not there. I'm not a believer, but I could see I'm seeing it at 40-1. I could see how people would want to be on that. Baccia could be tempting, but I'm skipping. I'm skipping because I started high.
So let me remind you of what happened at this tournament last year, because you don't seem to remember, do you?
Well, I know Pavon won, which was lovely and remarkable, but I forget any duel.
Yeah, he dueled with Nikolai down the stretch because we had Nikolai. I had Nikolai.
Yeah.
But it was so it was Jaeger who was way up. He played the weekend terribly. He was 73-72 on the weekend after starting 68-64 between the two courses. But he had that 3-stroke lead, then he started missing short putts. And it's funny, he got the win, and that's the other tournament that I wanted to talk about, was the one that he won in Houston. Because although they're not similar really in any sort of when you take a look at the course, I do think that there is some correlation between Torrey Pines and the other courses that you can just win at -12, which he did win at, because it's not a green and regulation fest. You hit a lot of big drives. Greens and regulation are hard to hit, and you need to scramble your ass off in order to do it. So that's what Jaeger did. Jaeger was also 3rd in Mexico, by the way, last year, in case you didn't know, and then he got his win at Houston. But who did he beat in Houston? He beat Dietrich. And Dietrich is the interesting name here, because do you remember who played in that final group with Jaeger? Obviously you don't. It was Dietrich, and he ended up coming T20 because he was an abomination on Sunday.
That's why you short sell Dietrich. There's some Willie Z is like the linchpin for me, because if I bet Willie Z, it's gonna be like a 4 guy, it's gonna be tight.
Yeah, I agree. So Jaeger won in Houston. He beat Toasty, Dietrich, Finau, Taylor Moore, who I had, and then Scheffler, because Scheffler missed that short putt towards the end. But those are all guys that hit driver bigly. I mean, Toasty's sort of an anomaly in that. He's big off the tee, obviously, but he doesn't quite have the short game of the other guys. But the rest of those guys have short games and can kind of putt or can mix it together. And then Grazerman was 7th at that tournament. That was like the first Max Grazerman like moment of last year. So I think all those guys are super live in this style of tournament because they're going to be able to save themselves when they miss the green. That's why I like Taylor Moore. Like Taylor Moore has an T11 here 2 years ago. Remember I bet him at the Masters. I think he finished 12th at the Masters. Like he plays harder tournaments well. He won Valspar, another tournament that's pretty tough.
So something that I'm like clearly noticing quickly on scanning Taylor Moore is like huge discrepancy in price.
What's the biggest one you can find?
110 at FanDuel. 110 at FanDuel, but I'm also seeing it like 60 at Rivers.
Yeah, I bet it at 100 this morning, and I couldn't get placements on that. I just had to bet it at 100, and that was that. If I wanted placements, I'd have to take them down to like 80 to 1, which I didn't make a full bet on it. I made like a half unit bet on it, and I'll probably allocate the other half unit to the 80 to 1 with 8 places or something like that. Because with these guys from the back end, I do want that. That's why I took a bit of a discount on Thorbjornsen's price to take it down from 90 to 75, but to get those 8 places. I mean, the 8 places have been the 5 places with Cole, had me a winning week at Sony. The 8 places with Hoffman on the big number won me money last week. Like it's the way that I'm treading water here until I can hit a winner and be up a little bit of money so I can keep firing. I'll probably do that with Taylor Moore as well. But I did have a half bet on the 100 to 1 early.
Yeah, like I said, 110 is the highest, but like there's 3 books I'm seeing with mid 60s. So
it's dropping.
Yeah, but also, yeah, I maybe the 110 is slow to react, or there's just like such a lack of consensus in the marketplace on
you okay?
Sorry, on Taylor Moore. Yeah, like fuck. Here's the thing, like I could bet Willie Z, or I could bet a bunch of guys who have kind of just been like riding and hoping. Like this is the thing, like I would if I don't bet Willie Z, I'm embarrassed to say like who I'm probably replacing Willie Z with. I'm for sure betting Jaeger. So it's like Aberg, Jaeger. But then if I don't bet Willie Z, it's literally this hodgepodge of just I'm gonna not even look at you guys, of like Detry and Berger.
Why Berger?
Just like
why would this be a good Berger course? And maybe it is. I don't know. You got to sell me on Berger at the same price of guys who are actually playing good golf.
It would be a hard sell. My sell is like it's been a slow burn and finally starting to see some upticks.
So if Daniel Berger's name was Daniel McMaster, would you be betting on him? And he was
Daniel McMaster.
Daniel McMaster from Scotland.
Was Daniel McMaster like on the like line of like pretty consistent US All-Star player before getting injured? Like was he on that trajectory, Mr. McMaster? Yeah, it's fair. Maybe I kind of just want Berger to gas out here for a couple weeks and then try to hit him in Florida at a nice number.
Like look at where he's won. Like he won at St. Jude twice. I mean, that is a bit of a longer course, I suppose, but you've seen all different types end up doing well there, and he did that against weaker fields by and large back in the day. He won at Colonial against a really good field. Like I think he's a lot closer to that rotation of guys that I mentioned at the beginning. Ben Griffin, he's like fancy Harry Hall, like the types of tournaments.
You're probably
Eric
right.
Cole. Those are the types of tournaments where I think that he is going to excel at. Maybe he can still get himself back up to that level where he was previously, but I just don't see it from him.
You bring up fair points, as in like where he probably is on the profile spectrum, and historically I don't touch that profile at Torrey at Torrey Pines. Were we in front? Were we behind 100 yet or no?
No, we're between 30 and 100 here. We're just kind of naming names. But Jaeger was the one that we both landed on. He's got the distance. He's got the short game. I mean, you worry that like he gagged the putts down the stretch last year here, the shorties. And then down the stretch at Sony, he just couldn't stop hitting the ball left for 9 straight holes until, like you said, he ended up in someone's pool, and that was the end of him. Missed it by. But the form is good coming in. He typically plays these types of courses pretty well, at least in the recent past. So I'm going to be on him, and hopefully he can keep it together.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. I think he's quite consistent. I trust him in this field on this course at that number. That's actually what, that was honestly other than Ludwig, that was the name that stuck out to me the most. And that's why I've bet them.
I'm trying to find him. Oh, yeah. So the other guy that I wanted to mention was Nicholas Norgard. So Norgard comes in at, I see him at 75 to 1 is the largest number that I see. Can you find him?
80 would be the biggest. So pretty much the same, but a consensus 75, 80.
So I don't know what I want to do with him. He tied with Rory, T4, in Dubai. So it's a long trip over. It's his first PGA start as a full-time member. He won on the DP World Tour last year. That's great news. He finished third in driving distance on the European Tour last year. That was ahead of Rory. That was ahead of, Rory and Becker, Oliver Becker were the only two. That's bigger than Henny Duplessis, who enjoys a bomb. Jesper Svensson, who is another name from deep down this list I might take a look at because he mashes it. Højgaard, Neiman, Rahm. Like, these are all guys he is ahead of in driving distance. Does he have the rest of the game as these guys? Absolutely not. But we have seen driving distance 1v1 correlate to this. And we've also seen Euros with no experience at Torrey Pines randomly win at Torrey Pines.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident he and Jesper will end up on Sky's cards this week. Jesper does crush it.
Yeah.
This guy as well. It's a long flight. I don't know that I could see like how he fits the profile this week. I'm a little scared off by him for this event.
I think it's a big
an
number.
outright betting context.
I mean, would you have had Pavon on the card last year?
No. I wouldn't have. I'm not like claiming that. But I just more like the what a great finish on like such a preeminent DP World event. You know, he's coming over here. I mean, there's tons of adrenaline. I look forward to maybe playing him in some other ways, but in the like win conversation, I'm not there. That could get me, but I look forward to playing like these cheeky Euros maybe in the desert next week.
You know what I might do, because Paul was mentioning this to me before the show. The each way top threes at 365.
Yes,
I might play that on him because it'll boost his odds up to like 110 to 1, and I'll have the top 3 equity to go along with him. And I've just Jake Knapp came third last year. Like, there's guys that can just randomly show up here and come inside the top 3.
I mean, his betting number tells me a lot.
Well, it doesn't. Like, he's behind your boy, Daniel Berger. He's a better player than Berger right now.
I agree, but it's also like a guy that is pretty off the like it's shorter than I would have guessed it to be. That's all.
So I found 4 guys in the field who played in Dubai last week. If you want to know their names, it is Thirsty Lawrence. He's coming over for his first start. You have Norgard. Bhatia played in Dubai last week, and Matt Wallace played over there as well. They're all in the field for the Farmers right now. Just in case that's something to put you off their scent, that would be one of the reasons.
It's kind of a big reason, but maybe it shouldn't be.
Chuck Hoffman?
I was nowhere near landing on that. I don't mind the other rando Euro you mentioned there, though, Svensson. I don't know that I'd actually get there on a bet though, but I'm impressed.
But I think that those are ways to play him. Like, maybe it isn't an outright bet, like you said, but maybe there's a collection of whether it's a DraftKings lineup, I'll talk that through with Tambo, or wherever we end up landing on some of this stuff. I think that those are guys that you do want to target. They fit the right profile of the guys I'm looking for. The 100 to 1 long shots. You've been talking about this for a sec here. Who is it that you want to bet from beyond 100 to 1?
Well, no, I mean you mentioned it. It was It was Venson. That's who I was eyeing up for the most part here. I also wanted to ask you, do you know about Jackson Koivu?
Yeah, Saku Koivu. He's in the field.
Yeah, where like I should know him, right?
Yeah, where did he either played Bay Hill? I think he played Bay Hill last year. He got you know how Bay Hill always has like, remember Ludwig had the spot that one year and Cust complained that he was on TV?
Oh yeah, it's like they like Arnold and amateurs. Yeah, for sure. They extend a hand.
Yeah, I believe he was the guy last year at Bay Hill. No, he was at Memorial. He was the amateur who was invited to Jack's tournament last year.
Okay.
So he's good, but who knows? I'd rather bet
And
Thorbjornsen at the same number or Taylor Moore at the same number.
Yeah. I'm not saying necessarily a bet, but I like just to mention this player, and it's great to see like the trajectory going in the right direction. Woodland.
Okay, what do you think that Woodland's been doing? I got to ask you.
He's recovered from brain surgery, and he finished top 20 at the Sony. That's all I can honestly tell you. What did he do before that?
Miscut. He was 9th at Shriners, 16th at Sanderson Farms. Like some weeks he shows up with the old Woodland game and can't make a putt, and then sometimes he shows up with his current Woodland game and can't make a putt. Those are like his outcomes.
Yes, but that wasn't who I actually wanted to mention. I just came across his name in hunting for you. You mentioned Vic Perez last week. I don't think you actually bet him, but he's a guy that would have this profile that we would want here, right?
I don't know how far he hits it, honestly. Like, is he like? Do you think that are you saying that he fits the profile because a French guy won last year?
No, I could be wrong because you've called me out. I've been gotten before, and I'll wear it. But I am under the impression he is quite a big hitter. Not like, Seamus Power, because the last name's Power, and like I assumed he could hit it far. But like actually, I think Vic Perez hits it quite far.
I will try to effort this for whatever reason. Like I'm on the Euros. I mean, the Euro Tour website's not great. Like if there's one site that's worse than the PGA Tour website, it's that. But finding the proper Euro numbers is tough. I got to go back to 2023 now to see if he
puts. He can putt. He can spike putt.
All right, he was 91st in Euro Tour driving 2 years ago.
I know. So he's a monk. I don't know where. He fucking mashed the ball.
He's behind Guido in driving distance.
Nice little week for Guido.
What did he end up finishing?
Oh, I mean, now I'm just embarrassing myself.
So you have no idea. You saw that he was 4th after the first round and assumed he did
well.
well.
People were happy. I didn't have a single bet on that tournament. I didn't follow it all that closely till watching Hatton close it off both weekend mornings. Vic Perez, wrong. Note to self.
Yeah, not as long. Listen, maybe he's gained 30 yards of distance. Who knows? Let's see. How has he been doing on the tour over here? He's 85th in this field, although in a very limited sample in driving distance over the past 12. He only has 12 rounds to speak of, and he's 81st in this field in driving distance in the Farmers. But listen, Pavon's not a big hitter at all, so maybe there is the other route. Like Snedeker has won at Torrey Pines in the past, so it's doable, but there's a reason like Scott Stallings has popped up too.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm more of like brick shithousers. Like you're just tanks who can scramble.
Yeah, it's the scrambling part that becomes the toughest part because there are guys from above 100 to 1. I bet Wacky Valimaki at 1,200 to 1.
I don't think I've had much winner luck here ever. I hit one Leishman. He outdueled Patrick Reed on a Sunday, and he just putted. He didn't miss a putt. He just dropped daggers from everywhere.
And he didn't hit a fairway, and he missed the fairways by so much that it was to his advantage because he didn't end up in like the thick rough. He ended up in the rough where like all the gallery was walking. He just sharpshooted from everywhere. It was a really that was a really weird year. I don't think it was Reed because I hit 3 in a row here. I hit Homa, I hit List, and I hit Reed the year that he won. So this tournament's been very good for me. And I vividly remember us missing Rom at this tournament because we were waiting for his first win in Phoenix the next week and then didn't bet him here and he won.
Yeah, but he was like 50 or 55 to 1. It wasn't like huge, but we're like, no, we're gonna wait this. We're gonna wait out Rom. Because he played Phoenix the year before, played great as an amateur. We already knew we were probably gonna get a bad Phoenix number on a guy that never won anything, but we were still waiting it out, and that was a big whiff.
2021, I think, was the Leishman year. I feel like it wasn't Patrick Reed. I think you're mixing up those years. But maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, Leishman beat Rom, Rory, Snedeker, Hoagie. Reed was there. Reed came 6th with Finau, Tiger, and Chuck Hoffman. Bo Hostler, he was up there that year too. I did find this, which I thought you would find, and these are the type of like trends you would like. If there was a Walter football for golf, this stat would be on it. So I feel like you're all over this one. 13 of the past 16 winners had a previous top 10 at the Farmers before winning. The only exceptions were Pavon, Rahm, and Stallings, who all won, I think, in their first start.
Interesting. Yeah. I don't know what to take from that, but I'm not really a trends guy. I'm just fascinated by like
you just love looking at them?
No, I'm just fascinated by like heavy ones. But I don't think I've ever bet a game because of a trend, like ever. It's not really my mojo.
Trying to find to see what that Taylor Moore number's not so bad. There, I'll put in the top 5 to go along with Taylor Moore. Along with my 100 to 1 outright, I'll have the 90 to 1 outright with the top 5. I'll probably cash out the 100.
Who won the year before Pavon?
Homa. Right?
And because here's the thing, I like you, like being friends of yours, like some Lukeless osmosis hit me. Like I always believed in like the Lukeless ceiling. Like you showed it to me that like I hold him in a higher light than like 99% of golf fans. And I know this field is like, at least by perception, you're telling me not really by reality, has gotten worse. I am betting guys like I'm not fucking around. Like I'm not betting guys I'm hoping to be Matthew Pavon. I'm betting like good fucking players.
Sure,
who
but
can win at Torrey Pines.
Pavon, I think Pavon is especially an outlier in this situation. He's at 110 to 1 again, by the way. But I think you have to go with the profile of guys that do win here. Like that's why I bet Nikolai Højgaard a year ago. It's like, did I think he was going to win? Obviously, yeah, I bet on him. I thought he could win, and he ended up coming in second. But he had the right profile. He just mashes it off the tee, and that was good enough. I think you can find guys lower down this list, whether you believe they're a winner or not. I think you can go to like if you want to go with Jesper Svensson, I completely get it. I mean, I'm betting Valimaki because he plays hard courses well and he played well in Mexico last year, and he's 1,200 to 1, which is kind of fun. So, but if you wanted to play Jake Knapp again, I mean, dude just came 3rd here last year in his first ever start. And it seems, at least with his performance in the 3rd round at AMEX, where he was 6 under, put up 2 eagles, it seemed like the driving distance was back. He was over whatever injury that he had sustained 2 weeks ago. Maybe you want to go there. If you want to bet on, Alistair Pottinger or whatever he is, he's the biggest driver in the field. He's like 500 to 1.
Yeah, I actually saw that down there.
Tim Weidling, that guy, he's like 600 to 1. He's won tournaments. He's won like 3 times on Corn Ferry last year.
But it would probably be like Thor Bjornsson flirting with triple digits.
And that's why
I believe he is that player or will be that player that so yeah, I'm betting either like you've got the full on pedigree or I like everyone sort of thinks it's coming. I'm not smart enough to try to guess, and I don't want to guess. It's Torrey fucking Pines. I feel like I know what I'm doing.
How do you feel about Alex Smalley? I know you're a big Alex Smalley guy.
Yeah, but that's more in like the Midwest majors, the swing season shit. Like that's when I get sucked into an Alex Smalley vortex. Was he 100 to 1 this week?
What I actually didn't even see his odds. What were they? I was just curious because he was 11th last week. He was 18th at Sony. He's just It's hitting the ball pretty well. He's one of the bigger players in the field, too.
Yeah, 90, 100. 100 would be the biggest, but everywhere else seems 90. Sort of identical, right beside Woodland here.
Yeah. Sam Ryder would only be the other one. And if you want to talk about trends with someone, Sam Ryder is the ultimate trends guy this week. So I mentioned Jagger, and he gagged it away. Remember when Homo won the year that happened? Do you remember what happened?
Yeah, they interviewed that. CBS did a thing. We're going to interview family. That was a one-time only.
They mic'd up his mom at the turn with a 4-stroke lead, talking about how much this win will mean to Sam Ryder. I think he came like 7th. He was up by 4.
What a
4
disaster.
at the turn.
What a disaster. What a painful sequence.
But his trend line.
He was wearing nice joggers that round, though.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he had those joggers make your ass look great. He was wearing like the burgundy ones. They were top
Listen,
notch.
if I wasn't like,
who's got a great ass? It's Sam Ryder. At least in those.
If I didn't have like the shape of Grimace, I would and I was one of these slender guys, I would be all about rocking the joggers on the course. I would tilt the old men at my country club. They'd complain, and then they'd be told by like the pro shop people, actually, sorry, that those are allowed by our rules. It's like a newer fashion. I know you don't understand, but they're allowed. But I can't pull that shit off.
Do you know who loves rocking joggers early in the season when it's a little bit too cold out?
You?
Pat Mayo.
Tim?
That's correct. I don't know if Tim could wear those joggers, man.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, what? I didn't know where this was going. Okay, yeah, I'm envy. If I could pull off joggers, I would rock them. We'll just leave it at that.
I like it. I think that's the move. So let's recap here with the quick picks. My decision this week is really going to come down to whether or not I bet Ludwig, and I'm leaving that open on the card with the names that I bet. So I'm in on Willie Z at 28, Jagger at 66, Taylor Moore at 90-1 with a top 5, Thorbjornsen 75-1 with a top 8, and then I have bet Wacky Välimäki at plus 1,250-1 plus a top 8 is where I'm going with him. And then I'm going to take a look at Ryder and Weiling and Knapp, all at like 600-1 just because they're bombers. And then the only other guys that I really want to do, if I don't go with Oberg, I'm probably going to do Grazerman and Moeller. No, it's not Moeller, Norgard, that guy at 75-1. It'll be a trade-off. I could probably spend the same amount of money on those two as I would on Oberg. So I can fit one more of them on the card, and I'll try to make that decision. I'll put it in the newsletter.
Was great. Gracerman and who would be the Oberg swap?
Grazerman, the 2v1 in terms of outright betting. Nicholas Norgard at 75 with Grazerman at 25 or Ludwig. It's probably more expensive just to bet Ludwig than those two. Honestly.
Yeah, probably is. I was saying I don't know you're like I'm not your forensic accountant, but I'm like I actually think you could get more than those two for the Ludwig price.
But that's probably where I would end up. I would just end up on those two instead of like Vegas is another decent shout here with the way that he's playing. He had a bad week at Amex, but yeah. I still think that he's in a good spot here.
So for me, it's Ludwig. It's Jagger at 70 and Thorbjornsen at 90. And then, could throw in a few more bodies, a couple in the in the 60s, or it could be like Willie Z, and we are done. I'm saying this about Thorbjornsen. And the sad thing is, Pat, once we get the 4th place and he looks fun on CBS, these numbers are gone.
Oh, 100%.
Every week 100%. I get a pick it at 100. But it's above 80, I'm auto betting it every fucking week. I just am. I will. Every week. I believe I've been wrong about prospects before. It wouldn't be the first time. But I in my gut, think if they're going to keep throwing these Thor numbers out, I'm just riding them.
I mean, there was only one person on this show who said that Matthew Wolff was better than Victor and Morikawa. You know who that person was?
You?
Yeah, it was me.
Well, I guess everyone is stalling. That's not actually, but on different levels. Relative to who they are, everyone is in a bit of a stall. So maybe Wolf can catch up. I honestly don't even know. Is he still on Live?
I actually have no. This is also one of the problems with Live is that the information is very confusing about who's on Live and who's not. Like when you go from season to season, it's like just tell me who's on the teams. Put them on the. If we're gonna pretend like there's qualification for it, just get rid of that and just tell me who's on what team.
Yeah, I was also wondering. I don't know if Tim commented. I saw the Cliques
rebranded.
Yeah, I guess like new logos or whatever. I guess that's part of it.
Sweet.
I don't know. Like there's some aspects I like and it's hard to turn away because I love golf so much and those aspects are obvious. And then it's just like dancing around those aspects in which I want to respect is a fucking circus and a retirement home. So it's like, I got to power through that to get to the good candy in the middle. You know what I mean? Like in the cereal box, there's a fucking toy. But you know how many shitty fucking flakes I gotta go through to find that toy? And that's what like the Majestics is.
One and done picks for the week. Cust surged out to the lead by burning Patrick Cantlay at the Amex, better than my Tom Kim with $0. Cantlay, I think, was 8th place, something like that. So he's on the board with $339,000 for the year, $283,000 for me after a Keegan top 10 at Sony, and you're at 195 with your Russell Henley, I think like T11 or something from the Sony Open. So he is in with Keegan Bradley this week for the Farmers. You and I both missed the cut last week, which puts it back on me. I'm just going to take Zalatoris. I think he's going to win, so I'm going to bet him. That's also what leads me more to Grazerman over Oberg, by the way, in betting, is that I don't want to burn Ludwig here. I think there are better tournaments to burn him at, but for me, it was between those two.
Yeah, I'm still curious to see how like Ludwig's schedule unfolds. Like he's clearly could play very little and the hyper elite schedule, but he's so young where I think I don't think this will be the last time we see like him ahead of Sung Jae surrounded by shittier names on a betting board.
Maybe
I play weird in our style. I'm picking Keegan. I'm taking Jason Day.
Okay. So Willie Z for me, Jason Day for you, Keegan Bradley for Cust in the 3-man one and done. The major season one and done is already up at fantasygolfchampionships.com if you want to go enter that. And there are best ball drafts for major season and the restart best ball on Underdog right now for PGA. So if you use code Mayo to help us out, then you can go spend all your bonus funds over there and do some drafts. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'll have more content on it. I know that Byron's going to have content on it. And just a reminder, Geoff, this starts on Wednesday. Don't forget.
I won't forget.
You will.
People do, though.
Oh, yeah.
So people do.
Absolutely. All right, that will do it on the Pat Mayo Experience. Smash like and sub to the channel while you are here. I will be back Tuesday with Tambo for the DraftKings picks because of the Wednesday start. And then the spread show will be out either late on Tuesday evening for championship weekend of the NFL or early on Wednesday morning, depending on when we can cobble it together and get it done. All right, thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you next time.
Mayo Experience! Experience!